Welcome to the Hyde Park Theater New Play Workshop, Running Bear by Raul Garza, co-produced with Scriptworks and directed by Lily Wolff. My name is Megan Thornton and I'm the literary manager. Now in its fourth year, the New Play Workshop is an annual week-long development process for a playwright to hear their play with a director and with actors and make as many revisions as they feel like the play needs. Our goal for these workshops is always to help bring the play to its next step in development. Previous workshop selections have gone on to receive other workshops and productions throughout the country. Our process usually takes place in the summer and culminates in a staged reading for a live audience in a real theater, but this year necessitated a slight change of plans. What you are about to hear is an audio-only recording of the play. We felt that an audio recording would better serve Running Bear's development as it allows for an oral experience that is closer to what you'd have in a production, namely overlapping and simultaneous dialogue. Running Bear was recorded live at the end of a robust online workshop process. Raul made significant revisions throughout our time together to his play up to the final moments before our recording. In fact, Running Bear is still in development, and that is where you come in. There will be a brief talk back tonight, right here immediately following the reading. Raul has some questions for you that will help guide him in his next round of revisions, so I do hope you can stick around for that. Also, since this is a virtual space that we are meeting in, we can't hear your reactions, your laughter, your tears, your gasps, your applause. So I invite you to use the live chat to share your emotional responses to the play with us in real time. In fact, feel free to say hello and introduce yourself in the live chat right now if you haven't already. And finally, if you'd like to support the work we do at Hyde Park Theater, know that donations of any amount are helpful to us at a time when we can't sell tickets. If now is not the right time to donate, know that you are just by joining us tonight, you are supporting live theater. So sincerely, we do thank you for that. Our reading will take about an hour and 25 minutes with no intermission. Thank you so much for joining us as we share Running Bear by Raul Garza.
Running Bear by Raul Garza. Footbridge in an almost lovely suburban Texas park. That feeling of wilderness within walking distance of a Whataburger. Emily paces the bridge intently. She pauses to make sure her overstuffed backpack is where she left it along the side of the bridge. Lucas enters and looks around with wonder and heavy emotion.
A little boy died here. That I know. A little boy died here.
He'll say, brag, confession, or some strange prayer, or just a way to make an entrance, make me listen up.
I don't know what else to say on this bridge. And well, she's not supposed to be here. You know, she can't be here. I could say more, but it's not a nice story.
He thinks, like most men, that this is somehow titillating, that he can shock me into paying attention.
I need her to leave. Why? It's complicated. I don't want to scare her.
Newsflash, not gonna happen. Women are never scared of you. Are we at times cautious? Nerve-wracked even by your reckless abuse of physical power and raging hormones? Well,
she doesn't belong here.
Can you blame us?
I will say normal things once I find my footing. I will be approachable. I will approach in an approachable manner. That's redundant.
Nervous old man. Nervous old man.
Lucas paces, inspecting the bridge closely.
Longitudinal ground section, the Super Friends, safety parameters, pizza day, flood with silly putty, soil mechanics, Mr. Pibb, ideal span length, bike ramps, Scale to existing houses, Dallas Cowboys. Scale to McMansions, chasing lizards. Topography, water balloons. Runoff, sleepovers. Reconnaissance, G.I. Joe. Risk analysis, ghost stories. Design life, pocket knives. Stream trajectory, pen pals. Bank erosion, double dribbles. Traffic protection, Mad Libs.
He's not well.
I will respect her
I'm not well.
her space.
He's looking at me. Gross.
She is so young, so
This is not what I asked for. But then,
helpless.
whatever is nothing.
We will meet.
He'll be dressed in the worst JCPenney catalog dad wear.
I'll play it cool.
A sea of neutral, slacks, not pants, precariously suspended by a pleather belt above a washboard flat butt that broadcasts the complete erasure of once formidable, powerful glutes.
I'll ask her to leave. Politely. I'll tell her, excuse me, but this is my private moment. Or something like that.
He'll probably say things like, "What's your favorite subject?" and "When I was your age," and "What colleges are you applying to?"
We will meet.
On a bridge. He will be that man, that guy, in a sea of others just like him.
She will be that girl who thinks she knows the world, but in reality,
He thinks.
the only thing she knows is what her friends post on Instagram.
He actually thinks he has the answer to all my problems.
And yes, I know what Instagram is. I know a lot. Her? Not so much. She's 17.
They turn to face each other. Lucas notes her vintage concert tee and points to it.
The Cure. Actually went to that very show. Back in the day, as they say.
Please do not point at my chest.
Oh, I was pointing at your...
Perv.
Each tries to size the other up. They fail.
You're not supposed to be here, you know. The signs, the...
What's your excuse?
Me? Well, I've got... It's a long story. You, on the other hand, is it a school holiday or something?
What's it to you?
Oh, I was just, you know...
Perv?
Please don't call me that. I am not a perv. And honestly, it's a little offensive.
Can you please not point at my chest and stop ogling me? It's creepy.
I was trying to make conversation.
Because...
Because?
As in, why are you trying to make conversation?
Because maybe it's the nice thing to do.
Right, because you're so nice, perv.
I asked you to refrain from using that term.
How about you just buzz off?
Because?
Cute. Because you're really annoying.
Yeah? Ditto.
They separate to far sides of the bridge.
No.
No?
By the way, no. It's not a school holiday.
Oh.
Like, I should have to wait around for some racist holiday or patriarchal religious feast day just so I can, you know, do stuff. Why should somebody else, some white man, get to decide that for me?
If it's any consolation, it gets better.
Ugh, you know, you look like the kind of person who would say that.
Do you want it to?
Who said it's bad to begin with?
I just, you know, based on your...
That's a bold assumption.
You're gonna find this hard to believe, but...
I was your age once. Please, heard that a million times.
So this is...
I like it here. I like being here.
Me too.
That little bend in the creek, sometimes rushing.
The pheasants. Those squeaky calls echoing against the limestone cliff.
Does nature supplement what man advanced, or does she complete what he began? Virginia Woolf, don't look too surprised.
I kind of assumed you weren't much into traditional learning.
Again, with the assumption.
Yeah, well, you're not giving me much to work with.
Let's keep it that way.
Oh, I wasn't...
Perv.
Say it again. That quotation?
No thank you. The moment has passed.
I realize that, but I...
Let's just enjoy the...
Solitude.
Such as it is.
They each stare off into the scenery.
It's not true, by the way. That thing about it gets better.
Figured.
It doesn't. It just stays the same. Only you get better at pretending it doesn't matter. Or if you're lucky, actually believing it is getting better when it really doesn't.
Doesn't. Shocker.
I wanted to be encouraging.
Try not lying. That's encouraging.
Sorry.
I didn't believe you, by the way, if it makes you feel any better.
Why not?
You're not a good liar. Like, my dad, he could be like world champion viral meme status of lying. And I am not even exaggerating. Like, for 4 months, he got up every day and went to work just like normal. Only, come to find out, he was unemployed the whole time. Meanwhile, mom has no idea because she's not allowed to handle the money. How flippin' biblical times is that? And she just goes along with it because, well, who even knows why? Except this once she opens a credit card bill and he goes all alpha ballistic and it doesn't matter anyway, because soon enough we pull into the driveway to see the landlord literally changing the locks on our front door. Evicted. So we're begging and screaming and climbing through the windows to snag our favorite Converse or Taylor Swift fridge magnet or other cornball stuff you don't really need, when what we should have been doing was retrieving insurance policies and photo albums, or better yet, forming a human chain and demanding tenants' rights and defying an unlawful eviction. Like that would have stopped us from having to move to an even crappier apartment or stop the whole eighth grade class from finding out about it and basically doing that mean girl thing like, oh, I'm so sorry, but really snickering almost behind your back because they know we are hella poor and they are not about that. Not in their little social circle, but yeah, he lies. Men lie. All men lie.
All men?
Okay? Most men. That's why it's easy to spot one who doesn't. So, congratulations, I guess.
Thank you. I guess.
I thought I asked you not to look at me.
Maybe I'm not.
Sure seems like you are.
Can we agree on something?
Depends.
Can we agree to, I don't know, disagree? Go our separate ways? Go your separate way? Can I ask you kindly to leave this bridge?
Because?
Because maybe I have something important to do.
Maybe I do too.
Maybe I have something important to do here.
And it just gets pervier.
Maybe I have something important to do here now.
Lucas clocks her backpack.
Looks like you're moving in.
And this is the part where I ignore you.
Real mature.
The part where I hope it's you who will go away.
Oh, I won't.
In which case, I'll ignore you even harder and muse to myself some random thought like, who invented bridges? Because that's what people wonder about, among other things. That's what people do. That's what we do on bridges. You know, we wonder on this bridge now.
Okay, I'll play along. Who invented bridges?
And please take that as a rhetorical question, as in save your guns, germs, and steel dick-wagging treatise for the next girl unfortunate enough to listen.
Noted. Funny you should ask, though.
Ha ha.
I actually designed bridges. Like this one. Well, literally, this one.
Emily looks the bridge over.
I like how it slopes down unevenly.
Architectural team insisted on double-clad steel undercarriage so that it would look more attractive from underneath.
Yeah, whatever. And these railings, kind of too high to lean on, too low to seem that way on purpose, just kind of unattractive.
Anything else?
It just kind of sits there. Like real bridges, they, make a statement. This one's statement is basically, don't look at me.
Otherwise known as, look how I reflect the natural elements surrounding me, as in Andy Goldsworthy, Eugene Fig.
You're like the Wikipedia of white men.
There's a whole existential element that goes into designing a bridge. So for now, let's just say we throw all the pure science aside.
Because I'm a girl and girls are too dumb for science.
Because you're insightful, and I'd really like your opinion.
Okay, this is a pony truss bridge, right?
Very good.
Compact, open, kind of harkens back to a simpler time.
You know a lot about bridges.
Or maybe just this one.
You were saying?
Okay, pony truss. Weight bearing, cantilevering, structural real estate above.
Correct?
Basically eye candy, but
The
below,
structural powerhouse, as we say.
beneath the surface. Huh.
Let's talk about the social element, its greater purpose. How does it enhance lives? Is increased mobility good for this community? Does it enhance public safety? Does it amplify our appreciation of the natural elements around it?
Which is all based on an assumption, a false truth.
That's a strong statement.
What if certain things, people, places, were meant to not be together? What about that?
Can you imagine a world where X widget cannot get to Y destination for lack of Z means? That's kind of a tragedy.
That actually sounds kind of awesome. I mean, what if certain energies were destined to never meet? Ooh, that mystery makes me tingle a little. As in, forbidden fruit so forbidden, it lays at the edge of your periphery for eternity, ad infinitum. Life needs mystery. Life craves mystery. Otherwise, what's there to long for? How sexy is that? Bridges
Bridges
destroy
bring
the
people
mystery.
together
Why hold on to something that destroys?
because maybe it doesn't.
The great unbridging. I can see it. Can you?
Unbridging. Hmm. What about rebridging?
Clean slate. Tabula rasa. I mean, what's more reflective of nature than nature?
You're saying
Eliminate the middleman.
you're missing the point. A bridge is a thing of beauty by its function alone. Okay, so maybe that's being subjective. How about this, though? No matter how much you love, or hate in your case, a particular bridge, there is really no arguing that once it's formed, that work transcends pure function to become something altogether different. Thank you, Calatrava. Bow down to Christian men.
Christian men.
That's his name. He's Swiss.
Need I say more?
Look, when you're older,
Please stop.
when you travel to Paris for the first time, and your lover, gender neutral, takes your hand and guides you over to the Pont Alexandre, I promise your heart will melt like Regal Cinema popcorn butter.
Like I said, men, things, bridges, yada, yada, yada.
What is
But
she
what
even
do I
on?
know? I'm
She's
17.
17.
Who names bridges? Actually decides they have to have some special Golden Gate Bridge, Millennium Bridge title that no bridge could possibly live up to. Because after all, it's just a bridge.
Sometimes the municipality, the landowner, and yes, sometimes the engineer.
Hmm. If it were up to me, I'd name this bridge something like Buck Off Crossing,
City council would never approve that.
Introvert Point,
Sounds creepy.
Please Leave Me Alone Pathway.
Too long.
You get my point though.
I actually do.
Good. So maybe the next time you and your team of socially awkward dudes are designing a bridge, you can
We'll get
maybe.
right on that.
Actually, it's not so bad. Your bridge.
You think so?
I said it, didn't I?
It's getting an award. I'm getting an award. Institute of Structural Engineers. Outstanding pedestrian bridge, span 2,000 feet or less.
Right on.
There's going to be a ceremony here. 6 o'clock. Kind of a press thing. Tick tock.
Oh, so that's why you.
Yep.
That's why they
Closed for maintenance.
power wash the graffiti, sand the warped boards, all to make it
Presentable.
beautiful?
That. And I can't help but feel this place needs something beautiful now. More than ever. After the, you know.
Shooting?
That.
You can't even say it?
I hate for my hometown, well, never mind. I hate for the world to think that's what things are really like here.
Except they are.
Emily moves away from Lucas.
What are you looking at?
Maybe nothing?
Maybe?
That's French for maybe it's none of your fucking business.
So maybe you could do that somewhere else. Like I said, I'd really like to.
Be alone. Wouldn't we all?
Lucas feels like she's gonna turn around right now. She doesn't.
Oh, I get it. Boy problems.
Seriously?
I knew it.
Bechtel test much? Poor lost girl with her boy problems. If she's really lucky, maybe some kind stranger with manly wisdom will save her. Better yet, seduce her with his dad bod, Dockers wearing self into some illicit sexual affair inspired by the purest natural surroundings and noblest paternal intentions. I'm on to you, perv.
Yeah, you're on something, all right. You talk to your parents like that?
You can stop at do you talk to your parents? Period. Aw, don't be sad. I think it's better this way. Bet they do too.
Doubt it.
Because you know them so well.
Because I know what I'd like from my son when he's 16.
17.
17.
Well, we don't always get what we want, do we? For example, did I want my dad to ditch me and mom for some girl he met online? I mean, how gross is that? And yes, I did say girl, as in she's young enough to be my sister.
Perv.
She looks at the park below.
And this is who comes here now.
He looks at the park below.
Looks like a nice little family.
Isn't that what malls are for?
Meaning you're unhappy, so you can't stand to see anybody else happy.
Thank you, no, Esther Perel.
He has no clue who that is.
Look her up. Seriously, look her up.
You're big on the commands.
They say this whole area used to be completely undeveloped. Yes, I'm ignoring you. Why does everything have to change? She says to herself.
It used to flood all the time before they built the culverts. Sometimes change is actually good.
Yeah, those ridiculous benches, pull-up stations, and bike racks, not exactly my idea of progress.
You're a purist. I like that.
Stop analyzing, please.
Sorry, it's a habit.
Running Bear Park.
Talk about names. Where do you think they got that one? It's not like there were bears running through Irving, Texas.
Urban legend? Like, Sasquatch or something?
Has a remotely Native American cadence to it, don't you think?
But just totally tone deaf.
Exactly. Best intentions.
Where do those get you?
Running away doesn't solve anything. You know that, right?
Who said anything about?
Lucas walks toward the backpack to get a closer look.
Come on, the oversized backpack, the desperate eyes, the no school on a school day.
Emily springs to grab it.
I'm not running away.
What are you doing then?
Same thing you are, standing on a bridge.
Emily withdraws. She checks inside her backpack.
We done here?
Subtle.
If I were you...
You're not me.
If I were you, I mean, surely you have something.
This is something.
This is not something. This is you being... When I was your age...
God, I hate stories that start like that.
When I was your age, we used to come here too. Actually, there all the time. Right where you're looking.
Of course you did.
To ditch school, smoke a little weed, and well...
Gross. Please do not tell me about your awkward sex conquests. Highly doubtful, by the way. Please just keep those to yourself, perv.
I find it interesting how you like to spend so much time alone.
Passive-aggressive. You wear it well.
Then let me be more direct.
Don't bother. But do know I have every right to sit here, or stand here, or shoot up here, or do whatever I want by myself because, well, maybe that's who understands me. Me.
You seem way too smart, too attuned for self pity.
Again, none of your business, perv.
Seems like if you'd stop feeling sorry for yourself for, I don't know, a millisecond, you'd realize you're not the first person to be misunderstood.
Wow, straight to tough love. What, no foreplay?
What if I told you that since before you were born, kids have been coming to this very place, trying to make sense of it all, just like you?
I'd say, who gives
I'd
a...
say you.
You're really annoying.
And you're really no different than anybody else, now or then.
Gee, thanks. Now I actually feel worse.
You are just like me, as much as you hate to hear it. And that's why you're still standing there when you could have taken off long ago.
Or I'm just that bored.
I was bored too when I was 17, when we were all 17. Then one day you're not, and you're so busy you wish you could remember what it feels like to be bored. And you have a wife, Belinda, who completes you,
Barf.
and you complete her, even though you both swore you would never be the kind of people who would say cheesy things like that. And then you have a son who completes you even more. Only one day, instead of feeling complete, you start to feel
Incomplete?
upside down, like you're falling into this deep well. You know it's happening, and you still keep falling. Falling. And you tell yourself, no, you tell Belinda. No, you want to tell Belinda, but you tell no one because you think if I just hold on a little longer. But you do. Keep falling. Deeper and deeper into this empty hole. Not in your everyday life. That part is fine. Is it fine? But in your secret dream space. Your secret awake dream space that taps your shoulder while you're pruning the box elder or scanning a bag of cauliflower rice in that annoying self-checkout line at Jewel. You know, the one that's supposed to be so convenient but always takes twice as long as normal because you always end up having to call the attendant who is like watching like 18 other... Oh, how you dread this awake dream. Oh, how you crave it. And maybe once you finally leave that loathsome self-checkout lane, you walk right past your L stop. You wander past the Historical Society, past the Clark Bar, all the way to Webster and Hudson, to your old apartment before us, before we subjective. We are active, not acted upon. We are not falling apart. I am falling apart. Falling apart is way too harsh. Maybe waiting to fall apart, which technically is way worse than actually falling apart. Just this agonizing purgatory of, is this the day I finally...
Are you done?
When I finally show up after the wine and cheese and obligatory niceties portion of our little dinner party, she greets me with the saddest, limpest kiss. Corners of mouth upturned and a half-assed smile that says, I stopped missing you a long time ago. That's how far you can fall when you don't even know it.
I get it. You've got issues.
We all do.
You honestly think this whole Mr. Engineer award is gonna win her back?
You make it sound like some bad rom-com.
At least you're trying, I guess.
So what?
So where is she?
They stare off into the scenery.
What do you think they see when they look up here at us?
Lucas looks down at the family.
Two people who cross the bridge closed for construction do not enter sign.
No, I mean, what do they see? My bet? Drug dealer luring an innocent young girl into a dark world of meth addiction.
Seriously?
Or a street trick meeting her John.
Why can't they just see a father and daughter on a stroll? Or two old friends catching up under a painted sky?
Yeah, right. Nice little white family like that in this gentrified neighborhood?
Oh, you're saying because we're...
Lucas references their faces.
You really think that?
You really don't?
Seems kind of, I don't know, defeatist?
I speak from experience. Yeah, laugh all you want. That's your privilege talking. Kiss ass like you. Man of distinction. Bet you just glide right through those layers of white oppression. Assimilate. Starts with ass, remember that. Meanwhile, the people who could benefit most from legitimate social change?
And that's the problem with people like you. You thrive on this deficit mentality of constantly being judged
Because we are.
instead of facing that challenge head on and proving them wrong. The world has better things to do than spend all its time focused on you.
You lost me at people like you.
Cute.
You know what's not cute? Sellouts who step on the souls of their people to climb the corporate ladder.
Oh, that's not melodramatic.
So you made a little bank. Good for you. Let me guess. Las Colinas? No. Prestonwood. No. Highland Park.
Actually, I moved to Chicago after college.
Of course you did.
And you want me to feel guilty about being successful because why?
Emily guides him to look at the family.
We are at war with them every single day.
Yeah, they are terrifying. How dare they take those adorable pics of their toddler playing in a leaf pile? Oof.
Okay, be all smug. All I know is that when people like that move in, people like us get evicted, or worse.
Are there social differences, class distinctions that correlate to cultural identity? Absolutely. But I don't believe white people hate me. I don't believe they hate me.
You're in denial.
So why should I hate them?
I never said hate, by the way. What I said was that the world looks at you differently when you come wrapped like this.
And I think that's a shame that you actually think that. It's tragic. Look, I get it. You're woke.
And just like that, he killed a perfectly acceptable term.
Which means that even though you actually have choices, you have the audacity to not like any of them. Now who's privileged?
Okay, boomer.
Honestly, it pisses me off that a generation of progress is wasted on a culture that, instead of building on that progress, wants to spend its time choosing its own pronoun, its own bathroom.
Transphobic much?
Oh, please, don't twist my words.
But that's what you get from a generation of yes sirs and turning the other brown cheek. People like me having to do the hard work because people like you wouldn't.
You are basically everything that's wrong with our culture.
Oh, really? Well, in that case, congratulations. You made me this way.
A standoff of sorts.
My first job out of college was at HDR, Chicago. And it was quite a coup for somebody with my background, with my experience, somebody like me, to land in a blue ribbon firm. Within weeks, I found my sea legs. The director even invited me to present to the client. To the client. Well, in those days, sales reps would come by every week or so and wine and dine the drafting teams, pre-sell them on their rendering and 3D applications, support services.
Yawn.
One rep, Ed Amaya, was the only Latino I'd seen set foot in the firm. And he was a well-liked guy, older, like I am now. He'd come by every week or so. Everybody knew Ed. Well, it was quickly becoming apparent that I was a legitimate player. People took note. Next time I walked into the boardroom for presentations, this one well-entrenched veteran, Dan Hagee, yells, "It's Ed Amaya!" right in front of the executive committee, and my own boss and the project directors.
What a dick.
There was this moment of silence. And then the whole room burst into laughter. After that, every time I'd walk down the hall or present to my project director, I'd hear it. "Look, it's Ed Amaya."
So what'd you do about it?
I told my director that I didn't think the joke was funny, that I didn't like it. He said Dan was just testing me, that it was all part of the process, part of fitting in, to just wait it out. And sooner or later, Dan would just let it die down, or would find someone else to bother.
You realize that's bullying.
So I waited. Nothing. And waited. And eventually I turned that embarrassment into drive, into passion, into this laser focus that shot me to the top of my design group and helped me achieve what I never could have achieved on my own.
Seriously?
Seriously.
So you're telling me you're actually proud of letting some brown shaming asshole leave tread marks across your back all because you profited from it? That's sick, dude.
That, my dear, is what you call the long game. It takes a lot of pressure to make a diamond, right?
A lot of assholes, apparently.
I did that so that you would have a pathway to success.
Oh, sure, you say that now. You're rationalizing. We both know you did nothing because you were afraid of rocking the boat, afraid of the man. Look, it sucks to be called out for being different, for being you.
But
But, just being honest, it seems kind of, I don't know, cowardly to just take it like that. To not even call out the man in power who was belittling some kid just trying to make his dream happen.
it did happen because of challenges like that.
Or in spite of them.
You honestly think we'd be better off if everybody experiences something as benign as.
There is nothing benign about racism.
I'm not discounting you. I'm not.
Good.
It just doesn't add up. All this emotional currency over things that really don't amount to much at all in the big picture.
Microaggressions.
Those.
I will not tolerate a culture of commonplace oppression.
I'm not asking you to.
Yet somehow I feel like you want some kind of acknowledgement for what you yourself experienced but did nothing about.
I did my job. How is that nothing?
If you have to ask, I think you have your answer.
What if I did the best I could?
By doing nothing? Well, in that case, I'd say thank you for perpetuating the belief that the establishment, most commonly white men, can belittle, demean, or marginalize for their own entertainment. But no thank you to accepting that behavior, or looking the other way, or not reporting it to human resources or social media or whoever needs to know, because at the end of the day, that shit hurts. And you did nothing about it. And maybe you were scared, and maybe you didn't have the language to express what really bothered you about it. Maybe you still don't. But let me tell you something, I do.
Lucas looks away.
Ooh, does that hurt? I'm so sorry. Here's some advice. You do take that, don't you? Or do you just like to give it? Kinda seems like I know the answer to that. Here's my advice. You want to share your deep, dark secrets? Don't expect everybody to romanticize them the way you do.
You're very wise for.
Someone my age.
I didn't say that.
So what is your deal with that, the whole follow my lead empire mentality?
There's nothing sinister about it. Just, hoping you could learn from my
Mistakes?
experience.
Oh, that.
So, this.
This?
I see what you're up to. Is it, I don't know, an act of defiance? A show of courage?
Hardly.
A cry for help?
Definitely not that one.
Okay, so let's not name it then. Your self-imposed sit-in, stand-in on this bridge. What's the end game?
Maybe there isn't one.
Oh, there's always one.
Always?
You can't just stay here indefinitely. There's tonight's event, for one thing. They're just gonna. I mean, if the cops really wanted to, they could just.
It's 1,309 feet from the north side to that porta pot on the south side. Quarter mile. Gives anybody, approximately 63 seconds to get to where we're standing. That's assuming they match world record sprint pace. The south side, 1,947 feet from the foot trail to the bridge. I can see the whole path from here, so it's not like someone can exactly sneak up on me.
What about me?
Oh, I saw you as soon as you passed that mound over there.
Why'd you let me on the bridge?
Emily thinks about this for a long time.
Because I knew you weren't looking for me. You seemed lost. You seemed sad.
Maybe I have a lot on my mind.
Oh, is this the part where I'm supposed to feel sorry for you because your wife, whatever her name is, doesn't
Belinda.
seem to give a shit that you won some big award? Something that's, if you ask me, seems like the highlight of a very lame life. And the one person who might possibly share some degree of, I don't know, I actually give a fuckness, is nowhere to be found.
Not true.
She's back in your tastefully decorated walk up, or bungalow, or warehouse loft, living her own equally boring, equally unfulfilled life. And that's what's really messed up is you actually want me to care about that, when all I really care about is you getting off my bridge.
Oh, so now it's your bridge.
At least I know where I belong.
Belinda, she loves to travel.
Yeah, could have fooled me.
Morocco, Bali, Ecuador, but not just far flung places. She can find the magic in a plain little two stoplight town. Cairo, Illinois, Sharon, Wisconsin, Seagoville, Texas. Yep, when she found out I got this assignment, when I first told her, she scouted all these forgotten Texas hole in the walls and long forgotten towns. And she thought she could get a glimpse of where I came from, why I am how I am. But I made excuse after excuse for why the scouting trip, the field sampling trip, the ribbon cutting trip, why those were just not the right time. Too stressful, I'd say. Too stressful for me. And I don't know why I said it. I just know that for some reason, the thought of her enjoying this place, well, it made me sick inside. I just wanted to be alone. Alone with this bridge. And she just wanted to be together.
Nobody is ever together. That's a lie we tell ourselves to not feel so lonely.
You don't really believe that.
You're kind of proving my point.
That's just how things evolve. There's a big difference between together and perfect. Trust me, you'll see when you find someone special.
Please stop.
Maybe you already have.
You are such a nerd. His name was Jacob. His name is Jacob. I had this stupid crush on him, like literally all through junior year. Then on the last Friday of the school year, we're cruising the Sonic, on Pioneer.
We used to do the same thing.
Ew, really? So we're cruising the Sonic. I was in Bonnie's totally whack Hyundai. Bonnie's my best friend. She's hilarious and crazy smart and dresses so cool without even trying. Like, she just has this like French retro fashion gene or something. Anyway, while we're parked, he comes over.
Tell me more.
So he dares me to get out and pretend like we work there, like actually delivering the orders with trays and everything. Anyway, he's from Grand Prairie, so I told him I knew a special place we could go, a place I knew he'd never been. The next Friday, I get all cute and pack this little picnic, and he picks me up and I bring him here, like our little secret. And we laugh and take more lame pics together and just kind of listen to the birds, to the trees. Did you know trees actually make a sound? To each other, to barely their laughter seeping out from the edge of the woods. We just listen. Before you know it, the sun is setting. And it's actually a pretty crappy sunset. Not one of those super dreamy ones you see on Instagram, just this boring, flat sunset that didn't really want to try too hard. That just kind of said, take it or leave it. So we stand on that side, facing the crappy sunset, and just each thinking some secret thoughts and just, being right there. Our hands kind of dangle close, and then closer, and then kind of overlapping and just barely holding hands, but more like, you know, nesting. Yeah, nesting in each other. And I'm thinking we're about to kiss right here on this bridge. In my mind, I'm praying, God, please do not let some lame kid ride his bike across, or some raccoon scurry out, or some other random act of nature interrupt this moment of pure, luscious Jacobness. And the moment passes. No kiss. The sun goes down, and we stand almost holding hands, just staring at the place where the sun used to be. which is like 10 million times better than some gross hormonal teenage makeout session, right?
Absolutely.
So that's how I remember this bridge. Sometimes. All summer, I'd come back to the bridge. And I'm not gonna lie, I'd think these cheesy romantic thoughts and just daydream about dreamy stuff. He did a summer program in Granada, and we'd text even though it was like 8 hours time difference. I'd text from here. I'd find any excuse to come here just to feel that feeling. August 18th. That's the day he returned. I tracked his flight online, which I know, kind of stalkerish, and the texts get shorter and shorter, and then just a random annoying emoji or haha, and then nothing. And they say jet lag and all, so I kind of wait. It is the last day of the longest week of my life when I'm standing right here, and from down below, I hear a voice I recognize. It's Bonnie. Only it's not a voice, it's a laugh. It's a laugh I recognize. And just as I'm about to call out to her, guess who steps out of the woods? Jacob.
Jacob.
Fine. They're hanging out at the park. No big. You can tell they're just horsing around, maybe meeting Stacy or Mitchell and that crew. Bonnie's laughing at something going on by the creek, and Jacob comes close to see what she's laughing at. Then closer. Then she stops laughing. Then closer. And she's not happy. Then too close, and she's stepping back. Then way too close, and he has his arms wrapped around her, locked around her, and they fall to the ground. No, he pulls her to the ground, and then he's on top of her, and she is saying, "Stop it, stop it." Saying it, not screaming it, because Bonnie is the nicest, sweetest thing, and she would never, bring attention to somebody, even if he's on top of her and ripping her shirt open and plunging his dirty mouth onto her chest. God, why am I telling you this? And then she's free and she disappears into the woods, which I'm thinking is exactly the place to not run into. But then he runs the opposite way back to the parking lot. So I know he's not coming back, that Bonnie can come out. Only she doesn't know that. And she's probably hiding behind some dumb tree or finding a rock to hurl in his face or just being effing terrorized by the thought of what just almost happened. What just happened? For some unknown reason, I race across the street to the bus stop. I get on and I ride past them all, past the school, just cruising this crappy town like I have nowhere to be. When Bonnie calls me, meaning when I stop ignoring her calls and actually answer the phone, she says she has something super important to tell me. And of course, I know. I know. Yeah, I'm kinda chillin' down at the bridge, I say. I lie. She surprises me. "Okay, I'll be right there," she says. I'm making her tell me here, at Running Bear Park. And now I'm panicking and grabbing an Uber I cannot even afford and rushing to where I said I was. And I wait, at the place I spent all summer waiting. I wait. Then we're standing on this bridge, me and Bonnie. And she's so nervous, and I know her better than anybody, and I've never seen her like this. I know what she's going to tell me. I know what happened down there. I saw it. But as she sighs and shuffles her feet a little, I just leave her hanging. I make her say it. That awful thing. She stops and starts a million times, and instead of moving close to her or hugging her, I stand right there, right here. My body will not let itself believe what I know she is about to say, what I know is true, what I know. I hate myself for that. When she's finally ready to say it, Bonnie turns her eyes away from me, toward that line of trees over there. I follow her gaze like a coward and focus on a group of trees, then a single tree, then a single branch, then an owl. A fucking owl. On a branch, on a tree, in the woods, by the creek, beneath the bridge where my friend needs me. And when she's finally through, which actually takes only like 8 seconds, I say the worst thing anyone possibly could. Really? Not, oh my God, my sweet treasure, how can I help you? I want to cut Jacob's balls off and shove them down his throat. I want to burn down the woods where you ran to hide so that nothing remains of your fear. Not, whatever you need, anytime, anywhere, I am here for you. I believe you. I love you. What were you even doing down there? I ask. I thought you were working nights this week. I am jealous of her. Jealous. Can you imagine? Even though Bonnie is this amazing ride or die, never leave you feeling alone true friend, which when you think about it means that I am trash. Since when do you hang out with Jacob Duncan? I just cannot let it go. I have to know. I have to know. I am reeling. I am standing there reeling in my pettiness instead of supporting the one person who really needs me. Bonnie tries to explain how stupid and ashamed she feels. She actually tries to comfort me by reassuring that nothing major, in the physical sense, happened. But I just stand here, stone faced. You poor thing. You're in shock, she says. Then, when she can't be the strong, carefree one any longer, she cries. Quietly at first, then really bawling. Heaves coming like waves she can't control. I physically recoil, actually take a step backwards away from her as she leans over the rail of this stupid bridge. I watch her soul melt drop by drop to the ground below. And those tears are what I see when I look down right here, pouring over the white bread families, the frisbee golf douchers, the junior high clove smokers, this flood of emptiness that will never, ever stop. That's what I see.
Truth? I probably would have done the exact same thing.
Emily's relieved.
I can tell Bonnie really means a lot to you, but you are searching for the way to process that.
Process?
And that is the beauty of being 17. You have the whole rest of your life to make it right. You get to make all of that right with you, with Bonnie, with everybody.
I disagree.
I envy that.
They look out. Emily trusts Lucas now. A little.
You know, back in the day, there was nothing but trees and swamp from here all the way to Hunter Farrell. And now, condos as far as the eye can see, strip malls and a Starbucks.
They call that progress.
And the park, Running Bear. I tell you, I barely recognized it when I arrived.
Well, this whole neighborhood gentrified 4, maybe 5 years going. The park got a facelift, new aesthetic, I guess you could say.
Call me old fashioned, but I like the way it was.
Amen to that.
I do think it still retains the basic, I don't know, essence of what it's always been.
Can't say I really know. After 4th grade, my family moved to some she townhouses off Northgate, University Hills.
University Hills? That means
Pendleton High.
that was
That's my
school.
school.
They acknowledge that they have something very dark in common.
The day started out like any other.
I learned about it like most of America on the morning news.
We ran late that morning because my mom, out of the blue, decides she's going to do some totally ratchet Zumba class at our complex's clubhouse. And we're carpooling now, so I have to wait for her to finish that ridiculous class, then shower, then do her hair, which I mean, why bother? Because it looks exactly the same every day, which is not a compliment.
I'd gotten news about a work trip down here the week before.
Okay, let's figure this mess out, she prodded as we backed out of the driveway.
I hoped the schedule would line up, and it did.
She knew Bonnie and I weren't talking, but it was way beyond that. I had started to avoid Bonnie since the week before when she told me about the Jacob incident. which was super hard because we had done this intricate locker exchange to get lockers right over each other's. And I had started to avoid Jacob too because he's basically a criminal, which was easy because he drove in from Grand Prairie as a non district student because his parents selected our dumb school due to its exemplary foreign language program. So he parked in the second lot closer to MacArthur Boulevard.
It
It
just
just seemed
seemed
to
to happen.
happen.
One minute you're watching the weather, and the next there's this special bulletin.
Like we were just barely getting moving, just going through the motions like we always do.
Were you there?
Bonnie felt guilty for telling me her story. She felt like it had somehow traumatized me and that had damaged our friendship. And she sent me endless texts and memes and these dorky selfies of her with our favorite song lyrics typed over a dorky Snapchat filter video. And that morning, right then, a pic with her standing in our lockers with her hands making that little heart sign. And the text said, "Meet me here." And people always describe these things, these horrific things, as if they're reliving them in slow motion. And that's kind of true, but for me, it's more like slow, then fast, then pause, then skip, then rewind, then stop. Like I can't catch up to it, like I can't make sense of it. And there she is, at my locker, at our lockers, and our eyes meet, and I realize I have to forgive myself for being a jealous, petty little troll. I have to let go of this ghost self, this stowaway who's latched onto me. I'm ready. I hear the shots before I realize what's happening. I hear them. Pow, 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 coming from behind my back.
They showed security footage from inside. Aftermarket Glocks.
It is so close I can smell the gunpowder, and it's not like an instant panic or anything.
It's a
More like
miracle
a
there weren't
row
more
of dominoes
casualties.
falling.
You were that close.
Mrs. Bourbon yells, "Get down! Get down!" I do, we all do, but not in some ROTC hit the deck way, in this awkward, crouchy way that feels like it's already too late to avoid what is going to happen.
More
More
shots.
shots. They move through the hall together, in a huddle. Shots. Huddle. Shots. I am 75, maybe 100 feet from my locker, from Bonnie, when it all begins, when it all ends.
My God.
I do not see her face after that. I do not look for her face after that. I just know. I hear screams, cries, then a stampede of footsteps before or after the special unit blasts through the fire exit. They mow them down. 4 high school boys dressed in black, who could be my classmates. "Proceed to the nearest exit in an orderly fashion," a voice barks over the bullhorn. Yeah, right. That sends kids running in 1,000 different directions, phones, books, papers flying, slipping on blood, actual blood, as we race toward anything that looked remotely like a door and not some hooded monster with a gun.
You are
It all
extremely
went
brave.
blank. Bonnie is dead.
I know.
Do you have any idea what it's like to not want to be alive, but not want to be dead either? It's okay. This is where the weirdness starts. The whole, let's not upset her, she's been through enough already.
Well, haven't you?
Yes and no.
I'm not being weird.
You can't help it. It's just how it is. I can feel it. I can feel how it changes once you know. And don't say, "Once I know what." Do not patronize me. I can feel it.
Okay, since we're being honest, yeah, it's different. But that doesn't have to be weird.
Then why is it?
Because humans aren't very good at this part, at shutting up and listening to what someone else is not saying. Not very good at accepting life changing, horrifying randomness. We're just not built for that. It's not weirdness, it's science.
My classmates, my teachers, worst of all, my parents, they treat me like I'm some delicate relic. One wrong move and bam, the whole thing crumbles.
I think it shows how much they care about you.
It's like being smothered to death by an avalanche of feathers. Everybody hovers, but nobody really comes close.
What would you prefer?
I'd prefer a real conversation for a change, not that, "Oh, you poor thing," tilt of the head, not the irritating small talk.
Got it.
So here's the really messed up part. There are moments, no, there are full days, like today, where I can totally relate to the shooters, just mowing down everybody within eyesight in a single bloody mass.
You don't actually think that.
More often than you believe. But here's the thing, I wouldn't actually do it. I wouldn't actually do it. Damn it, what is wrong with everybody?
Lucas comes toward her to hug her.
Back off, creep! Is that what you think I want?
Emily recoils. She grabs her bag and forcefully opens it, about to reach in. Then, she halts suddenly.
Is that what you think would actually help? God, you are such a perv.
She composes herself and returns to her story.
They gave the whole school a week off. Please stop looking at me like you feel sorry for me. You want to hear my story? I'll talk if you'll listen.
Fine.
Like, actually listen. Not, I'm formulating some boomer wisdom to drop on this unindoctrinated hellion.
Do I find you fascinating? Absolutely. But not in some creepy pedophile way like you're imagining.
What a relief.
But in a way I don't get to experience very often. Okay, never. I know you're pretty goddamn brilliant.
Was.
Explain.
Obviously, I'm a total liberal arts nerd. Poetry study abroad geek, that's me.
You do have a way with words.
I got accepted to the Omega program, this partnership with UD's classics department. 12 spots awarded nationally. This year's focus, Chaucer. Now that is my jam. I was going to spend this summer researching and writing and geeking out along the route from London to Kent. You know, St. Thomas à Becket's shrine.
Was?
I don't know. I'll tell you if you promise not to be all judgy.
Who, me?
So, they gave us a week off. And when we got back, they had planned this whole over-the-top, freaking Disney-style celebration of life. That's what they called it. Not something more accurate like condemnation of death or something related remotely to what we had all just endured.
Celebration of life.
With the senior performance choir and this lame, endless slideshow so we could all, you know.
I know.
Here's what to not do when you are planning a celebration of life, which you should start by not calling it a celebration of life. First thing, do not ask a kid who has survived a maniacal school shooting themselves to read a poem at a memorial in front of the whole school. Do not ask a kid who is barely able to keep herself from doing something stupid to herself or those around her to be motivational, insightful, uplifting.
So you said no?
My dear friends, awkward pause. Friends, that's a funny word, isn't it? We're gathered here today to mourn our friends. Friends, true forever, the banner says above the main hallway. Fuck that. Oops, not supposed to say fuck. How do we take this tragedy and move on? How do we honor the memory of those lost while keeping sight of our brightest hopes and dreams? Bonnie Luna was my best.
She screams, overtaken by rage. Another scream, and another.
Principal Patterson and the guidance counselor rush toward the stage. I motion, hey, it's okay, don't worry. I'm fine now. Because an adult should really believe an unstable 17-year-old kid who just lost her best friend in the world to a maniacal group of wannabe stormtroopers, and the whole thing is playing over and over and over in this 17-year-old kid's head, despite the CBD and Xanax and Adderall and Lexapro and Zoloft and fucking Midol she snagged from her mom's medicine cabinet because she has no idea what is going to happen next, and she just wants it all to go away. All of it, but it won't.
It will. I promise.
Don't make promises. Don't make promises. They don't come true. I continue. Nobody should own a gun. Guns kill people. People with guns kill people. Either way, people are dead. My friend is dead. My friend who I was too much of a coward to do right by while she was alive and laughing and doing everything she could to make life somewhat bearable in this ridiculous prison we call high school. If your parents have a gun, steal it, then get rid of it. Break into that safe. I know you know where the secret key is hidden, and rid our sick world of one more soul crushing day like today. Break into your neighbors' houses and steal their guns. Throw rocks through the windshields of cars shopping at gun stores. Go online and I see them rushing back towards the stage. This time they're not stopping. And here's where it gets blurry, out of sync. I know I have maybe 10 seconds before they yank me off stage, and I want to be invincible. Leave behind some words of pure badassery, and I start to cry. Like some dumb girl channeling Cruel Intentions and Heathers and every other misogynistic high school movie ever made. I cry, which makes the room go silent, which makes the faculty stop rushing the stage, which makes me cry harder, which makes the whole room look like a melting wax diorama.
Oh my God. You're that girl.
That's
You.
me. Some kid posted my rant on TikTok and YouTube, and news broadcasts picked it up, especially that gun part, and, well, you know the rest.
But I don't.
And then I wake up. It's a Thursday, and I'm suspended. Only they didn't call it a suspension due to the unusual circumstances. Mom is pissed, but she can't bring herself to admit it because she feels responsible for me being the emotional train wreck I am to begin with, which is not necessarily untrue.
So that's why you're.
Here, on a school day, unsupervised, unstructured, unhinged, not so much. Maybe just finding a quiet space to put some of the pieces back together.
I think what you're doing is brave.
But the piece that does not fit is the piece well, why I'm still here.
It's called survivor guilt.
God, you are so tone deaf. You honestly think you can mansplain away how it feels to be some white supremacist target practice. And don't you dare look at me like, oh, poor wounded soul, or try to be like nice and kind when I already know you're not. I know.
You and your friends have been through a lot.
My friends? Don't you see? I have no friends. Friends take advantage of you when your guard is down. Friends betray you. Friends die.
Okay, I get it.
You know what you are? You are that dumb Instagram meme about you may never know when you may not have that chance again, which for your information is not just annoying, it's traumatizing. Actually, traumatizing. And that's the kind of stuff that makes you want to seek out the farthest away place, even if it's some lame ass bridge just across town, where you wonder, is this bridge my escape, my secret way out, or my prison? Either way, some days
Like today?
I just want to end it all.
They reset their personal space.
I've been on the radical side of gun control since before you were born.
Grown.
I've marched on Washington, Save Our Cities, Million Man March, March for Our Lives.
You just love to hear yourself talk, don't you?
Me? After you spin your freeform junior poet laureate miseducation of Becky Hill?
Ooh, mixing decades there, and still being all tacky with your appropriation of hip hop and youth culture.
Did it ever occur to you that you might actually be able to learn something from me?
Oh, I get it. You want me to be your do over. You want me to be the second chance to undo and redo what you got wrong the first time. Yeah, I may be young, but I'm old enough to know life does not work that way.
Because you really know how life works. Maybe this bridge is my way out. Maybe it's all just too much. Like any person with half a brain can't read between those lines.
At least I'm dealing with it. You, on the other hand, want a medal for doing everything but the one thing you set out to do. You want to stop gun violence? Try actually talking to a real person, maybe. Somebody not in Dockers on the picket line. Somebody who might actually use a gun to hurt somebody. Somebody like that, if you're not too scared.
Scared? Who's really scared?
Lucas moves for her backpack.
Back off, perv!
All this wasted time, all this not getting off my bridge, all just for show. Bravo, victim. And since you know so much about eviction, I think it's time you relocated.
Lucas grabs her backpack. He moves to toss it over the bridge rail.
Stop it, you freak!
Emily retrieves the bag. She steps away and from a safe distance unzips it to reveal the contents.
Holy,
Yeah, exactly.
don't do something you'll regret. Your family will regret.
Fuck my family.
Okay, do whatever you want to do. But can you just leave me out of it? People depend on me.
People.
People love me.
I am not some desperate suicide loon.
Then stop acting like one.
God, you are like the definition of the world's worst dad.
Lucas motions to the bag.
Internet explosives? Seriously? You don't actually think those will do anything more than get you arrested, do you?
You want to find out?
Amateur.
You'd be surprised what you can find on the message boards, or a few gross dates with this 21-year-old trumper from the National Guard. Before you know it, I have 2 little homemade C4. That's...
I know what C4 is. And you're stalling.
Lucas steps towards Emily.
If you come 1 step closer, I'll...
Lucas stops.
I'm sorry for everything. Truly.
How can I not obliterate this thing that has caused so many people so much pain? Without it, maybe the world would be a better place. And sure, that sounds childish and naive, but I can't help but think, what if there had never been this bridge? So we had never come here. So Jacob had never attacked Bonnie. So I had never deserted her. So we would have ridden to school together that morning and hung out together like we used to on the benches, and she wouldn't have been waiting for me right there in the 400 hall when they...
Are you asking my permission to blow up this bridge? Because
I don't need your permission to blow up this bridge.
then go ahead. Blow the fuck out of it.
Emily gives an "oh, it's on" look and strides to the edge of the bridge. She peers at the underpinnings, then steps back. Lucas watches, spellbound. She halts. She deflates as she gently sets her bag down.
A little boy died here. Down there. I know, it doesn't look very deep. See that gravelly strip of nothing where the creek bends? Well, that was once populated by little boys. Crawdads, and nothing else in the world. It was 1982. Almost summer. Also known as the last time we ever went crawdad fishing. Or even set foot in the creek. This was our playground. It didn't happen that way. The way you're thinking. I see you doing the math, trying to imagine what it feels like the moment before you plummet 20 feet, which might as well be a mile to a scrawny 7-year-old kid, and land face first in a shallow creek. Not much of a story, really. In fact, I think I've forgotten it and rewritten it in my mind so many times I don't know what is what. So, imagine this place before all this. It's almost summer, like I said.
Does she know?
It's getting dark. I can almost hear the mosquitoes just thinking about it. Coach Vandergriff gathers us all like after any normal practice. But something's not like normal practice. There's no goofing and joking about wild shots taken and goals missed and save it for game day. Just Coach standing there white-faced and wobbly, which in retrospect was not a big deal in and of itself because we'd all seen our dads like that, sometimes on a Saturday morning after a particularly late night of canasta or bridge or whatever grown-ups did in smoky rooms with glasses clinking and synthesizer music oozing through the stereo speakers.
She doesn't know.
You see that washed-out grass behind the walking trail? We used to practice there.
Why not? Why not just tell her?
Our soccer team. The Falcons. Okay, so let me set the stage. You know the Sonic where you're telling me about, right? Well, imagine that whole strip, only way more colorful. That's how it was back in the day. The familiar tacky signs, the Krogers, the Golden Triangle Arcade and the Pizza Inn. We'd ride home from practice in the back of somebody's station wagon and watch the lights all melt together into a neon soup, like a light bright on acid as the hyper-symphonic sounds of the Electric Light Orchestra floated through the air.
So how'd he drown?
How does anybody drown?
You know what I mean.
Back then, this bridge wasn't even here. No walking path, no pavilion, just a sometimes running creek and a bunch of washed out fields.
I can almost see that.
So can I. We're standing around after practice. Eddie Eccles is cracking these dumb jokes he learned from his big brother's Mad magazine, and we're all laughing, even though we don't understand what is so funny. And then somebody's mom is there. Now, two moms are there. And Ian Murphy is bawling. Practice is over, and the moms are telling the other moms who are just driving up something important. But we're just watching. I go with my friend Oscar Hernandez, and we hop into his mom's Pacer. She's playing something kind of quiet, and the song is about pina coladas, which me and Oscar think is just about the dumbest thing we've ever heard. But we still like it anyway. Miss Hernandez turns left of Rock Island, not right onto Pioneer. And then she surprises us by turning into the parking lot of the Great Texas Burger Company. And we're so excited we spring out of the hatchback when she lifts open the door. That makes her grin, even though you can tell she really feels like crying. And she grabs Oscar and pulls him into her and just squeezes him super tight. "Oh, Mom," he says. But who wouldn't want to be hugged like that by your mom, even if it is a little embarrassing? And then she does the strangest thing. When she's holding Oscar with her left arm, she reaches out and pulls me in with her right arm and just stands there hugging both of us. My son Augie turns 7 this year. Old enough to run through the woods, to jump dirt bikes just a little, or to follow a stray soccer ball into a low-lying creek. Old enough. He turned 7, and it's like, I remembered. And I didn't remember, didn't want to remember. But then, even when I wanted to, couldn't. And well, these things just kind of shut down inside. One, Daddy's busy. One, Daddy can't walk around the block right now. One, you're too old to sit on my lap at a time. Things shut down. I shut down. She noticed. How could she not? She tried, with words at first, then fewer words. Then this empty look, this empty feeling, then maybe she just shut down too. He still believes. He will be waiting for me back home with a hand-scrawled "Welcome home, Daddy" sign. 1,000 miles from this bridge. A lifetime away from another 7-year-old boy. You like this place, right?
Like I said, I come here to think.
This used to be a non-thinking place. It was a wild, noisy boy kingdom. Now the trees slouch, awaiting the return of the boisterous army whose grubby hands once carved initials into their stately trunks, whose scratched up knees once slithered up their brittle branches with the grace of feral cats. Now, sulky girls come here. No offense.
None taken.
We had a team meeting, and all the parents came, which was weird. And they said nothing at first. Then they said there had been an accident down there. We thought. No, they said, not exactly. Then what? Accident like maybe someone chases a ball that's rolled into the creek? Not like that. Not like that at all. Then they asked the parents to take their kids and tell them half truths. And sometimes bad things happen. in science words that were scarier than 1,000 horror movies. We're so lucky it wasn't you, they said. Like that's supposed to make you feel relieved. Instead of terrified that next time, and there will be a next time, they made sure we knew that the next time it could be you. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't his fault. It's a dangerous place, they said. It's a dangerous place for a boy. All alone. He died alone. How? That's the part I'm trying to remember. The part I tried to forget. Tried so hard I did forget. But you know what? You can never not remember. No matter how hard you try, you can never not remember. The Falcons forfeited our next game, then played through the remainder of the season like nothing ever happened. Our parents told us to never talk about it again. And if we ever asked them about it, they just got kind of nervous and snappy. So we all stopped asking.
That's the weirdness.
Right. The weirdness. Only we didn't know it was weirdness because we didn't know what happened.
But you did.
We knew, but we didn't understand.
But now you're here. Now you can get the facts.
Maybe I don't want someone else's facts.
Why not?
Maybe I want to refeel it in some dandelion half-light, all fuzzy and eternal Indian summer, and then let it go.
Lucas looks down at the park.
Little boys drown. Or sometimes little boys get lured into a Suburban by a perv, taken to the 7-Eleven, given a Slurpee and maybe even some dipping sticks, and then they get raped, pummeled, and tossed into a dark creek. Left for dead. Left dead. So when I see this bridge, now, I ask 7-year-old me, were you there? Did you know? Do you remember? Which turns into, what if you had gone with him? What if he hadn't been alone? What if you had seen something? What if you had screamed for help? What if? What if? What the fucking if? This bridge is my what if. And no matter how many times I ask or how hard I try, all it shows me is a dirty 7-year-old face laughing as he runs towards the creek. Shamelessly beaming rows of miniature white teeth, except for one missing to the left of the two in front. Olive skin and a bowl haircut like every other kid had. Then, nothing.
I'm sorry.
Emily moves beside Lucas and gently takes his hand into hers. Lucas weeps. He can't stop. Emily waits for him to speak.
You want to know the worst part? I cannot remember his name.
Lucas cries shamelessly. They negotiate a safe space for him. As he regains composure, their movements and expressions show a shared understanding. With a sense of ceremony, each moves to the opposite side of the bridge.
I've never really trusted bridges, much less this one.
People, not a ton of them, but some, ask me why I do this. Why I design bridges.
I think it's the whole not exactly one place, not exactly the other. I find that shady.
I pretend to not know. Just for a second, but I know.
But I respect it. Respect that lack of commitment.
I don't design bridges. I unseparate what is longing to be together.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I wait for the moment in the river bend where one side just leans barely enough for one tree to whisper the suggestion to an equally curious branch on the other side. Think about that. Now, feel about that.
17 is like a constant reminder that you're neither here nor there.
17 is before the hourglass tips to that point where the sand escapes. God, I
God, I
miss that.
hate that.
They call bridges monuments, landmarks, even. That's missing the point, which is that it is the point. Not some in between no man's land, but the infinite right now. It dares us like that.
Suspended in time, in space,
In
in
memory.
memory. When I'm older, maybe I will understand. There, I said it. But for now, know this. If I choose to let this particular bridge live to see another day, if I decide to give it back to the ink stains it left on the story of my life, it's not because I had to, it's because I could.
Meaning,
I chose to. I choose to.
They are at ease. Suddenly, Emily is intensely motivated. She jolts for her bag, grabs it, and forcefully opens it.
what are you doing?
She calmly walks to the bridge railing. She removes a small pocket knife and begins to carve into the wood.
His name is Tommy, don't you think? Something friendly, boyish, but with a distinct pledge to become
Thomas. Or Tom.
Tomas.
Exactly.
But for now,
Tommy.
Tommy. And from now on, everybody who comes across this crappy bridge will know that somebody important came here first.
You realize this bridge wasn't
It's
even here, you know.
symbolic.
Right. Symbolic.
When you stand on this bridge and get that award, you can think about its social element and maybe it can, I don't know, actually bring a little comfort to some people.
They look out, look at the bridge, look at each other.
You know, I think I'm done here.
Yeah, me too.
Lucas moves toward Emily and does an awkward handshake.
Awkward.
Yeah, well.
Lucas turns to go. As he reaches the edge of the bridge,
What's your name?
Call me Tommy.
once Lucas is out of sight, she takes a last look around and then runs her hand over the carved name. Emily grabs her backpack and exits.
All right. Thank you so much for sticking with us, everyone. As this music plays out, we are going to launch right into our talk back here. We have just a few questions. It won't take very long, and I'm just going to jump right into it. So I hope you'll stick around. I know Raul is here, and he's going to say hello in just a minute. Question number one, and please just enter your answers directly into the live chat. Don't be shy. What moments or images popped for you as you listened to the play? So what moments or images popped for you as you listened? And that's just your kind of first knee-jerk response is really what we're looking for. Anything that popped, please don't be shy just to share that experience with us. So while you guys are thinking and writing, Raul, are you there? Would you like to come say hello?
I'm in the virtual bridge.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes, represent.
I want to thank everyone for joining, and especially Megan and Hyde Park, Estrella and Michael, Kelsey, Ken, the team, because this play was developed all virtually, and I think
Mm-hmm.
You've developed kind of
How, is there anything like, what would you like to share about that virtual workshop process?
you know, it makes you focus so much more on the words on the page because you're not leaning into things physically or kind of implying those with direction, even for a table read. So I think we got really deep into some scenes, really, really, really deep. And in some ways, I thought it was more productive than the traditional or the previous way that we worked it. So I'm really grateful for that time.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, your play is so language rich, you know. It was especially, we didn't know it going into it that that this is the format we'd be using, but I think it worked out pretty well as well.
It preserved this sense of intimacy that I wanted in the piece, but by the fact that we couldn't even be close on the same space, we all were in our little tiny space. I felt that informed the way that the play developed.
So if anybody is still thinking about question number 1, what popped, please feel free. You can, it's still open. We'll move on. Question number 2, what made you wonder? What were questions? What made you wonder? And I'll give you what made you wonder, and then I'll give you question 3. So you have 2 at the same time to chew on. So we're really curious if you see yourself in either character or both characters, either in the past or in the present, because so much of this play is you know, telling a story of something that's already happened. So if you see yourself in either of these characters in any moments, how so? And what are those moments? That's really the juicy one. So do you see yourself in either character? When? Why? What was it like? Because we recorded this a little while ago, Raul, revisiting. How did it feel? Did it feel fresh to you? What, like, were you rediscovering it, or have you been knee deep in the play since we last met?
So I haven't seen a lot of it since we last went over it, but I thought, and I'm looking at Rupert and Joanne's comments about place and people, and that jumped out at me this time, just place, 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 like being in that space. I'm looking at some other comments that are reflective of the way that I kind of rediscovered it, and that awkward way that the direction lets them get close enough and far enough, kind of like they don't want to really be there, but that's where fate or time or whatever put them. So I felt that this time.
Yeah. So the questions we have on the table, just to revisit, what made you wonder in the play? And then also, do you see yourself in either character in any given moment? And if so, how so? And our final question, what is one thing Raul should absolutely not, under any circumstances, change about this play? What is the one thing he should not change, must stay? Would be great if you could share that with us. You guys are giving us so much. Thank you so much for these for this feedback. What is your revising process typically like, Raul?
Well, as you know, it's very active. I focus on keywords and key places where scenes take one turn or another, and it's always like terrifying and excruciating to listen to your own work or see your own work. But I try to go into the details that way, and then I try to smooth out what needs to be smoother and let. I always like a few of those like pebbles in the shoe moments that just never are fully comfortable, because I think that's what I want this play to be. Move you out of that comfort zone a little bit. So revising is just rereading, re-listening, and
yeah, the pebble in the shoe metaphor, that's a good one. I've not thought of it that way before, but yeah, I appreciate that image. So let's just revisit. Thank you so much, all of our wonderful YouTube audience, for sticking out with us. This is so, so helpful for work that is still, it's alive. This play is evolving. So thank you for sticking it out. Our questions: what is one thing Raul should not at all ever change about this play? Do you see yourself in either character? How so? What made you wonder? And any moments that popped. So we'll give you just a few more minutes because you all are being so generous with your feedback. I don't want to cut you off early. We do appreciate it. So Raul is very modest, and we are continuing to work with him at Hyde Park Theater. You are a member in our current writers group cohort.
I am. So I'm like have half a brain in two plays tonight, and one of them is this one.
Yeah.
My head is in the other one, so I'm like split down the middle. But we're doing this process for all of y'all that are joining us, for writers who are working on brand new pieces, and it's something that's completely different from this one. So it's also such a landmark in time to think about when we were doing this play and how suspended we were in time with COVID and just the way we were in that uncertain place ourselves. So
I didn't think about this when we were doing the scheduling, that your Running Bear live stream was the same weekend. So just so everybody knows out there, we are reading the first full draft of Raul's brandest newest play on Monday. So yeah, and you never mentioned it. You never said, can we switch either of these? You just rolled with it. I didn't realize, how your attentions must be divided until this afternoon.
Those writers need deadlines.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think, so I will just, some parting words. If you are excited by the work we're doing at Hyde Park Theater, we have a lot more coming down the pike that we're not ready to announce quite yet. So if you want to stay informed, the best way is to go to our website and add your name to our mailing list, and we will keep you abreast of all of the useful updates. So do that if you want to know more. There is more coming. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This reading is gonna be up on YouTube at least another week, and then in the next few days, it's also gonna be up on SoundCloud for those of you who would like to kind of have it on your phone and put it in your pocket, maybe have an earbud listening experience. Or if you know anybody who might like to listen to the play, feel free to recommend it. There are gonna be 2 avenues where you can reach it, right here and then on SoundCloud. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy. And we hope to see you back at the theater very, very soon. But until then, be well, all right?
Thanks to all.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you for letting us work with your play. It's been a joy.
See y'all soon.